Hey guys, in this video we're going to be installing the SQ Engineering Beams 3 SGE alternator kit. And this bracket kit has some pretty significant benefits over the stock setup, so I guess let's go ahead and jump into it. This is everything that came in the kit with mine. This is the lower bracket. This bolts on the bottom of the engine near the oil pan. These two pieces are for the upper bracket, which bolts on much higher on the engine. There's two studs that will pull to put these on. This is the little swing arm that goes right here. That's for the alternator upper bolt, and this is the lower bolt. The kit is pretty sweet. I mean, this is a nice CNC part. Everything's obviously pretty nice, zinc coated, all that stuff. The only real downside, or the only thing I don't necessarily like about this is, at least the one that I got, it has a bunch of these regular hex head bolts, and that's not necessarily my favorite. I would have rather seen these as flange bolts. Like this one, see, the washer's like built into it. These ones I'll actually have to use washers with it. It's not that big of a deal. I can replace those with flange bolts if I want to. I've seen other people install it and it came with flange bolts, so I don't know. That there is the kit. It's pretty straightforward to install. I guess let's talk about the benefits first, and then we'll go ahead and get on the car. There's a couple different benefits. The first one is serviceability. The Beams alternator is specific to the Beams 3 SGE engine. It doesn't cross-reference anything else from what I found, especially anything in the US. So if you're on the road or at the track and your Beams 3 SGE alternator fails, that's it, that's all you got. Or you can be like me and pick up spares whenever you can and carry them with you to the track. That's not necessarily the most ideal solution. So this allows you to bolt on an alternator from like a Toyota NZ engine. So the NZ engine came in a bunch of different cars, like I think the Echo and Yaris and like an XA and XB. I think it came in the XB. Anyways, there's a bunch of actual like Toyota part numbers that SQ Engineering provides that you can then use that to look up and interchange to vehicles in your market. So that's great. You should be able to pick up one of these alternators just at the auto parts store, no problems. The next benefit is it cleans up the engine bay a little bit. The bracket kit looks a lot nicer than the stock one. The stock one is this giant cast aluminum piece. It's really gross looking. And this is a nice machined, anodized coating. Looks pretty good, zinc coated, anodized. And then it also tucks the alternator closer to the engine, so it just makes things look a little nicer, which also is a little nicer for when you're reaching the engine bay to work on stuff, just keeping everything tucked in a little tighter. And the last benefit that I've noticed is it actually saves you weight. Like, it's almost 9 pounds of weight difference with the SQ Engineering kit versus the stock one. So it's like saving you almost 10 pounds off the front of your car. Like that's pretty good. That's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and go over to the car and start getting ready to put this on. This piece here is the stock alternator bracket. It goes from here all the way down to here. There's two nuts here, one bolt here, and then two more bolts down here. So 5 total fasteners that we'll need to remove to get the bracket out, but also this guy over here for the dipstick tube. We're gonna have to go ahead and pull that bolt too. There is one more bonus bolt hidden under here that you can't see. Just for side-by-side comparison, stock alternator bracket, SQ Engineering one. Pretty significant difference there. Now with that big bulky thing out of the way, the next step is to remove those top 2 studs, and then we can go ahead and put the SQ Engineering stuff in here. Now we've got all of that stuff out of the way, we can go ahead and put the SQ Engineering stuff on. The lower bracket is going to go right down here at the bottom. We're going to use the Allen bolt for the front bolt here. And the back bolt is going to be one of those hex bolts and a washer. One of the things that I really don't like about these hex bolts is they're a weird size. So it's a 16 millimeter head. Now for the upper part, we're going to use this guy and this guy, both of these. This is a spacer bracket. It's going to go on first where those two studs were. And then this will go on top of it, right? So it'll be layered like this. And then we're going to use two of those other hex bolts with the washers to go on here. Now for the dipstick. On the other side of the dipstick hardware, you're going to put this guy. This is the, for the alternator, the adjuster. Okay, it's important to leave this a little loose so you can manipulate it to get your alternator fit up. Get that position just right for the alternator. I opted to go with a 90 amp alternator, and SQ Engineering's, I don't think they verified the fitment on this, so I figured, well, maybe I could do that. The 90 amp means it's also going to be the same output as a stock alternator, which is good. At least I think that's good. So we're going to give this a go, see if it fits, get it all bolted in, and then I won't be able to start it and run it in this video, but maybe we'll do a follow-up later once I get the car running to show if the alternator works or not. One of the things I did notice is the pulley size on this is pretty big compared to the stock one. I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not, but I guess we'll find out. We got the big bolt in, then we've got these two washers or spacers. These guys are going to go right down in here in between the alternator and the bracket. And there we have it, the SQ Engineering Alternator Upgrade Kit, all installed. I will say the problem is with the 90 amp, the belt that it comes with doesn't quite fit, but that's okay. So that's the SQ Engineering Alternator Upgrade Kit installed. Now, obviously I don't have a good belt on it. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the pulley size. My car isn't running yet. Other people have used this alternator setup, just not the 90 amp alternator. I'll let you all know how that works out. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow along. I do a lot of beam swap things, so if you have questions about beam swap or you're curious about upgrades, make sure to check out my channel for other kinds of content related to the beams, as well as all the neat upgrades and stuff that I've done along with this A86 Resto Mod restoration project.